Welcome to the Boise State MBA Risk Management Program as we enter Module 4, Qualitative Risk Analysis. The area of qualitative risk analysis is taking the first cut of your data from your risk register and applying some sort of priority ranking to it. There's a few key tools in this area. The most common is the probability and impact matrix. So we'll give you a background and we'll talk in detail about that matrix. But let's continue on our journey learning more about risk management. Qualitative analysis really takes the data from the risk register. We look at the type of risk we have. Do we have an opportunity or do we have a negative risk? And what we're trying to do by a variety of techniques is to find the high content ones, the ones that really have the high negative impact, and the ones that may have that really high probability to add opportunity and increase the value of the project. That's the whole purpose of this area of qualitative risk analysis. We've talked earlier about the critical success factors. We have a need for information. We need to have that agreed upon approach. That's the need for your risk management plan. This is how the company operates. You're setting that standard. And in that risk management plan, you basically have those definitions of what the terms mean for your company or operation or process. And then we have iterations, which means we do it again and again as needed to make sure we really have identified, directed, tracked, and addressed the risk issues on your project. Kind of another way to look at this whole area is that we select our risk, we collect and analyze. In our risk register, we capture it. We prioritize. That's what we're really doing. And then we take a look at the risk causes and we document our results, and we'll do those in further steps. But if you simply look at it, we're developing a plan, we're looking at the risk and collecting those data, we're setting a priority, we're then analyzing, developing a strategy, documenting the results, and then making sure that we've taken action in our project to address those risks. So as we document those results, it starts with the risk register being updated. It's linked to the objectives of the project. And we look at those high risks for further analysis in the next area of quantitative risk analysis. Let's look again at our toolbox. We'll look at strengths, weaknesses, and critical success factors as we move through the various tools. The first one is pretty much a scientific type tool. It's similar to the probability and impact matrix we use, but what's happening is on the one matrix, probability is expressed as a probability, not as a range. In many cases, this is a software program, and it gives you more detailed area. It's again used for high value areas of software manufacturing, but not commonly used in most business cases, as the P&I matrix does a pretty good job in this area. Again, it's there available, but it takes a lot more work on definitions and that kind of activities. Again, is it a 0.25, 25%, 26%, 28? That's where you get the probability issues. That's what the ranges of the PMI matrix will eliminate. So again, this is using probability instead of ranges. A good tool, but one we don't see that often. An excellent tool for looking at prioritization of risk is post-projects, lessons learned. What has been an issue before? You will probably ask the stakeholders, and they'll tell you which ones have bothered them before, which ones have we had problems, where have we had problems as an organization. That may come up as you look in your risk breakdown structure also. And this is an area where it's a hard way to describe this tool, but it really is that gut feel, where the stakeholders, sponsors, or you as the project manager say, I think this is an important issue. We need to make sure we address this risk. And that's important to look at that kind of basically soft information, but a very important one for you. This is the area that most people see in the area of qualitative risk analysis. It's the probability P&I matrix. It's the key to this is to define up front, before you start the project, the definitions of the matrix, the two sides of the matrix, the probability and the impact side. We see these already canned for us. The usual one is a 5 by 5. Well, that doesn't have to be that way. We can modify it for whatever you need on your project. So again, the real hard part is to have the team look at and analyze their business and develop a P&I matrix that's addressed toward their business. So as you work on your risk management plans, take the step to go back and look what's really critical for your business. It may not be a standard 5 by 5. It may be a 5 by 1. There's an example of that shown in the utility example we have. So look at this area, apply that, apply the definitions. What does high mean? What does medium mean? What is low? And so those are the big problem here. As we've emphasized in red, the definitions are very important, and this is something the team will have to work on. And this will be a critical part of your risk management plan. So as we look more at the risk matrix or the P&I matrix, it's called ordinal scale. It's a relative ranking, not exact probabilities, but relative. So you have many ranges on the way, and you can see the limitations there. And those are things to look at. The other points are a different set of P&I data is needed for opportunities. So not one will work for every one set of probabilities and impacts will probably work best for negative issues or risk, and one will look better for opportunities. Unfortunately, it's very hard to quantify those opportunities, and I very rarely have seen people develop a P&I table for matrix for opportunities. I think it's something we should look at more. And let's go on. As we develop our risk management plans, you may have a chance to develop those opportunity sides. But what we're expecting is mostly the P&I risk table around the negative risk. AHP, I had to look this up, and I attached a YouTube for you. It's a scientific way, something like almost like a house of quality, but it's a sign. It's putting all of the risk into a matrix, and you're doing a weighted average. When I look at this, it's much like going to the eye doctor when they say, is 1 better than 2? Is 2 better than 3? Is 3 better than 1? And basically, the software helps you decide that and gets you relative ranking. It's usually done with software. I think in the YouTube video you'll link to, there's some an Excel software that you could use in that area. It's a little more complex and it's a little harder to explain, but the more I looked into it, it'd be a good tool. But again, in this area, the P&I matrix seems to be the standard bearer. Here we come back to one of our other ones we've seen before, root cause analysis. Learn the classic way of ask why 5 times. As you see something or you hear about something, ask why is that a risk? Why are you concerned? Why do you see an issue? These are the important questions you need to ask as an MBA and as a project manager. So root cause helps you look at that, but also it's a really basic way to look at it is ask why 5 times. This was a short area for us, and the key to this is making sure you understand the probability and impact matrix. The other tools are there, but it's very important to go through all of the risk on your project using a tool like the P&I matrix. Another key point is that the matrix for a negative risk is probably not the same as an opportunity. So it'd be good to find ways to identify the opportunities, not just the negative risk.